Hey everyone, this is day 1 of Road to 2100. I am rated right now 2011. Okay, we got a game against the 1990. Let's play a game, even though I don't like to play against people lower rated. We're close to the same rating, but I want to play higher rated. I will take, and then he will take with the pawn, and then we will develop. Knight c3. Most of the time they play knight f6. Okay, bishop out. Well, I do the exact same thing because sometimes it turns out to be like the Jobava London. Okay. I don't know if that doesn't look like a free pawn right now, because if I take and he takes my bishop, I can take back with the knight. So he did not win my piece. He did not win a piece. And there is no check here to do something funky, and I can always go back, but that will lose me the bishop. So, but there's no tricks. What about knight takes, pawn push, check, sorry. Knight takes, pawn push, bishop takes, check. I can just go back. That's just very retarded. No. Did he blunder, or there's kind of a trick here? Because I'm really not interested in losing this game right from the beginning of the game, and I'm really tempted by this pawn. So knight takes d5, bishop takes, knight takes. There might be some kind of tricks. I don't know. Maybe he plays like c5 after that. Well, it doesn't really matter because I can just play. It actually does matter because it's really annoying. I mean, I think we can play it like a3. And if you wanted to play this check, we can go here. Takes, queen here, takes, king takes. Maybe the plan is to ruin my castling rights, maybe. Knight takes. Where is the trick? Knight takes. Bishop takes, knight takes. We want a pawn. Okay, knight takes, pawn push, bishop takes, queen check, knight back, that's bad. Knight takes, pawn push, bishop takes, queen takes. Maybe knight c3. Bro, my brain ain't braining. Knight takes, what's gonna happen after that? Because at this level, we don't usually see people blunder a pawn at the fifth move, right? So that's why I'm really thinking that this is going to be some kind of a trick. If I take with the bishop, just queen takes. After this move, there's going to be a check, and I have to go back, and I lose the pawn. I really want to take this pawn. Bishop takes this, but what about knight takes? Is there something funky? Bishop takes, knight takes. Queen here. I can just draw back. He wants to take, I take with the queen. I'm happy. Bro, what is wrong with this move? Knight takes d5. Okay, knight takes d5. Check. That's retarded. Come on. You know what? I don't care. I'm gonna take. It's a tempting pawn. I'm gonna take this here. Maybe he's gonna move his bishop. But where? I mean, move the bishop. I just draw back knight to c3 and... No, if you move the bishop, it's actually cooked because of knight takes c7 in the fork. It never happened before to me that somebody blunders a pawn at the very beginning. That's why I'm not... But we're not sure if it's a blunder or not. Yeah, so this is the move. He's trying to open up this. So the idea... Of course, we cannot move the knight because we will be cooked. Bishop takes. He will not take with the queen. That's very bad because I can just go back and I'm completely safe. The idea that bishop takes, there's going to be a check. No, that's retarded. Come on. Okay, so if bishop takes, he might take the pawn. He might take the knight. Well, I can just go bishop to b4 to stop the check, and I can go back c3 or bishop d2. And if bishop takes, queen takes, knight c3. That's... Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, what is this? What is this joke? And we also have many moves like e4 to attack the bishop and also open up for the bishop if in case he takes like this. Yeah, I mean, that's... Okay, now it's obvious to me that he blundered. Now it's obvious. Okay, so if knight c3 is gonna play queen b4, pinning the knight and also attacking the pawn, I can easily not play rook b1 because, come on. So knight c3, queen b4, queen d2, and maybe like knight here, for example. Well, I can just play this move, then e4. So I think it's like knight c3. Knight e3 is not good because you want to push the pawn so that the bishop will become active. So I'm guessing knight c3 is the best move. He might play queen b4, or he might simply play knight d7 or knight f6, knight e7, trying to castle. Yeah, this move's trying to get activity on this push, but I simply have the move e4, having more control, and not only that, taking the knight, ruining the pawn structure, isolated pawn, double pawns, a lot of value I just said in this moment, because it's, I mean, at this level it's all about structure, pawn structures. If the pawn structure of the enemy is messed up, you're winning the game for sure. So after bishop takes, pawn takes, he's gonna have double pawns and an isolated pawn here, which could be easily exploited. But we have to be careful. We have to play like knight to e2, try to castle. So I think this move will help me get the knight to e2 to defend the pawn here, and also defend the other knight, try to castle, and the pawns will be messed up, and I will be up a pawn. I think it couldn't get any better. Yeah. We take the knight, of course. He will take back because he's angry. And knight e2. But after knight e2 might be queen here, but then of course queen d2. So we go knight here. The pawns are a little bit loose, but the knights are defending. I'm still thinking that he's gonna play something like this. But I don't know if I have queen a4. If he takes here, there might be a check. He needs to go here because if he went there or there, it's going to be another check. And then we can easily move the rook and get... Oh my god, this will be devastating because I can play queen a4 and he cannot take the pawn because of checks, and also the rook b1 to get in with the rook. Yeah, so now he's trying to get to my pawn, which actually, it is annoying. You definitely don't want to... I mean, also pushing will create a hook somehow. I'm not actually afraid of it. Even the knight can reroute like knight a4 and knight c5. I actually love it. There's nothing wrong with like b3. Rook b1 is a little bit weird because, you know. So b3, I don't see anything wrong with it. Let's go with b3. He's going to play knight f6, adding more pressure here, but that's going to be a blunder. Fork. So maybe knight e7 to try to castle. Knight here. Okay. So the knight's going to be on g4. Okay, so after I castle knight g4, that's the idea, but I have e5 to attack the queen, and we would have... Yeah, I don't really think there's anything for my opponent at this point. See, we have rook c1, adding some pressure here, also trying to play knight a4. I really want to play this, so let's play rook c1. Maybe he wants to castle. Yeah, he wants to castle. Now, we have this move e5, the queen needs to move, and after the queen moves, we play knight a4, trying to... But we cannot play queen c2 because of the bishop. So after e5, the queen needs to move, and then we can play knight f4, attacking the bishop, but the bishop can move. I think it's an important move, but then he can use it in some way to open up the rook. So we could also have knight g3. I don't like it. See, knight a4, knight c5, or knight a4 trying to play... I really need to get the queen active. Or something like queen d3, trying to go queen here, trying to trade. Or just a simple h3. h3, stopping the knight. I mean, let's just play a simple waiting move and wait for him to do something. I believe he's going to play a rook e8 or rook d8. And also there's this annoying move that I did not see. That's very bad because, yeah. Maybe I had to move the queen somewhere. Very smart. Adding some pressure here. So I can play knight g3. So knight g3 defending everything. There might be this push, but then I can push my pawn e5. If he takes, that's nothing because we can just go here. So knight g3 can be played. Also controlling the bishop, defending the pawn. I mean, what else can it do? And then we're gonna castle after it. Yeah, I think it's perfect. I think knight g3 is nice. We also have this push, but I mean, knight g3 defends multiple squares. But this pawn become a little bit weak. We can play like knight e2 to defend the pawn and also open up for the rook. Yeah, I think knight g3 is nice. No. Okay. That's a very weird beginning of the game. So now I only have 9 minutes and my opponent has 14 minutes. Sorry about the lighting. It's like, this is the lighting. It's really bad. It's also the problem with the audio. But the video will be very helpful because I'll be explaining everything. What the freaking hell is that? Are you sure about that? Oh, because if knight takes, there might be this move. Okay. Okay, so knight takes. He's gonna play this. And now I go queen c2. If you want to take, I can take my pawn back. It's very weird. But I think it's knight takes here. I'm not scared because, I don't know. Knight takes. Is there rook takes? Knight takes. Rook here. Queen c2. f5, f3, pawn takes. See, I want to take like this so that the queen can defend and also attack the pawn. And if I castle, now I don't want this bishop to stay here. Really, I don't want that. The knight is not doing very much activity here, so knight takes. There's going to be the move f5. I play queen c2. He's going to take. And then we're going to take this pawn. So after queen takes, pawn push. We don't take, or we can take, because after check we can go back with the knight. But there's going to be a rook here. And then we can always go rook c2 to defend. I think knight takes is fine. Yeah. He's going to play f5, queen c2, pawn takes, knight takes. But we have to be careful. There's queen e6 or queen e7. But there's going to be f3. So wait a second. f5, queen c2, pawn takes, knight takes. Hold on. f5, queen c2, pawn takes, knight takes. Queen here, f3. Yeah. So I would have a very solid center. And the pawns are going to be very nice. We're going to castle after that, and we're going to have a lot of pressure here, and the pawns are doubled. So, yeah. Unless he decided to take, then I take. He plays queen e7, queen e6, or rook e8. There's going to be f3, f5, queen c2, pawn takes. This takes, but there's going to be this check, queen g3 check. So f5, I really want to play queen c2. So f5, queen c2, he really wants to take. And after queen takes, rook takes, pawn push, pawn takes, rook takes, knight e2, rook e8, and I can actually play, no, I cannot play rook c8. I have to go back rook c2. because after rook c8 he can take the knight with a check, and after I move he can not trade. I think he can play queen e7 or queen e6, and he can also play f5. He can also play this check, queen b4 check, but I think that's going to be a blunder. Wait, queen b4, queen d2, and he cannot take because I can take with the king, and now the knight is no longer pinned. So queen here, queen d2, he should not take me. He should play maybe f5, but then I take, and after he takes back, I just take this pawn, and after he takes my knight, I take the other pawn, he takes maybe here, and then I castle. So I'm winning a lot of pawns in the process if he played the queen here. So this is a bad move. I'm pretty sure this is the best move, f5, queen c2, so f5, queen c2, pawn takes, knight takes, queen e7, queen e6, f3 before to defend, and then he defends the pawn, and then we can castle and use the rook. Yeah, we definitely messed it up by losing our advantage, which is the pawn, and not only any pawn, a center pawn, which is really important because it would have helped really to attack this pawn and make a queen. So yeah, we definitely lost our advantage, but hopefully we're still in the game. I'm not sure why he's not playing f5 yet. Hold on, what about f5? No, that's bad. f5, queen c2, pawn takes. See, what I'm thinking about, after f5, queen c2, pawn takes, queen takes, rook takes, pawn push, pawn takes, rook takes, knight e2, rook e8, rook c2. And the problem is, what is the problem? The knight is still here. Hold on. f5, queen c2, pawn takes, queen takes, rook takes. Hold on. f5, queen c2, pawn takes, queen takes, this. e3, and after takes, they're going to be check, knight here, rook here, and that's going to be a problem. But I can play rook c2, and then I need to move the king. I cannot castle because I lose the knight. Yeah. So f5 is really annoying. Yeah, I don't know how I did not see that. He finally played f5. Okay. F3 is a blunder because he can just take us with a check and we are screwed. We can castle. Hear me out. We can castle. He will definitely take because he's a greedy guy. And then we play queen c2. We're attacking this pawn twice. So we're attacking two pawns at the same time, but then we're going to lose this one. But then we play rook fd1. And the queen needs to move. Then we will win this pawn. I think castling is best. I think castling is best here. But after castling, can he play f4? No, that's retarded. Come on, the queen is dead. Castling takes queen c2, attacking this pawn, He takes this pawn. I play rook fd1, attacking the queen. The queen moves maybe to f6, and then we can play knight takes e4, attacking the queen one more time. And we can put the knight here or put the knight here to attack this pawn. I think we have good position. Castling takes, queen c2, queen takes, rook fd1, queen f6, knight takes here. Unless he wants to take here, then thank you so much. So yeah, I think that's the point. That's it. So takes, queen c2, but he can push. Oh, he can push. Queen c2, he pushes. Should I care? I take? So wait, queen c2 push takes, rook takes. Is that good? No, hold on. Queen c2, push, I cannot take, I lose the knight. Queen c2, pawn push. Knight e2, takes, rook takes, and he cannot take here. Oh, Queen c2 is nice. After takes like this, we can play rook d1, queen moves, and then we take. Queen c2, he pushes, and now we have to play knight e2, we're defending the pawn, and after takes we take with the rook. There's no way to pin me, so we're good. I guess. Okay. Queen c2, he takes his pawn, we play rook d1, and after rook d1, he moves the queen. I think the best way to go is f6. What if he went queen e5? Then we just take this pawn, and after he attacks me, we take, take, take. We also have rook e1, but he can still push, and I cannot take because after rook takes pawn. No. Rook here, pawn push, takes, 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 and he can take this knight. Okay. So rook e1, pawn push, and knight e2. Takes, king takes, then we're going to be in trouble. So let's go with queen c2. Attacking this pawn twice. So that would be great if I managed to find e3. I think it's a really good move and also an easy move to find. We cannot take, we lose our knight. Unless takes here. Do we have something? We have a check, but then king moves. We can win this pawn. I don't think it's worth it. Even though we can win a lot of pawns. But it's definitely not worth a knight. And also, if e3, which he did find, I like it. We can play knight e3 and knight e4. Knight e4 attacking the queen. The queen needs to move. Maybe he can take. We play a check. He takes us. We take back. He pushes. We go here. I think knight e2 is the best. Knight e2 takes, and we take with the rook. I think knight e2 is just the most reasonable one. We're just defending the pawn. That's the thing. It's a very important pawn because this pawn is very weak, and once we manage to win it, this pawn is free to be made a queen. And if he takes, I think I'm just gonna take with the rook. But after pawn takes, rook takes, he's gonna play rook f8, trying to trade. Then after rook takes, but then he's gonna lose the pawn. I take with the rook. So now the rook is active. This pawn is a little bit weak, but it's defended by a knight, unless he did something funky. No, I don't think there's anything here. This pawn is really weak, and also this pawn, but yeah, we definitely messed it up with missing that we're gonna lose a pawn in the process, a center pawn. If I kept this pawn and only castled, I would have had a very good position. But this check and we can win a pawn here. So yeah. So let's say that he played. Is he gonna play rook b6? Just try to defend both. That's going to be very weird. But I think it's playable. Yeah. And then we have to make sure we move the king in order not to get pinned like this, because we really need the rook. So let's see what is he gonna do. Because I do have this check, the king will move somewhere. Yeah, so now I do have this check, the king will move, I can take this pawn. I can win a pawn, but after maybe like rook takes a check, I go here and no more checks. So I think there's a way to win a pawn, and then we can get back the safety on d3, a4, win a pawn and get back to c5. I think now we should take our chance and just win the pawn. Should we do that? Should we not? Well, I'm not gonna waste more time, but hold on. These two are connected. So the knight is defending the rook. So we just have to be careful. We have to be careful. So the king will move somewhere. We will win this pawn. Um, uh, I mean, there are no ways to actually. I can't see significant threats. Like if he takes the knight, I can take like this. The queen will become active, maybe attacking my rook, but I can double up. I think taking the pawn and then moving the knight and getting the rook on c2 to add more pressure here, but we have to keep defending the pawn. So maybe, yeah, so I can take here, which I believe is fine, and he can never actually push this pawn because free queen, you know. And if you wanted to take, and after this check, I can go h1, I'll be safe. And also I'm threatening to win this pawn and play queen c5, and after queen takes, maybe I take with the rook, and then, I mean, lights out for him. I mean, two connected pass pawns here, so yeah. And if he played rook c7, what do we play then? I think a good move is king f1, even though it seems retarded. But king f1, we're defending both of these, and the rook can move without me losing the knight. But the queen is still defending the knight, so I think it's still fine. My highest rating was like 2027. I lost a couple of ratings because I played a cheater, then he got banned, and then because of, you know, the emotions, when you lose a game, you start to lose your strength. But anyway, he got banned, luckily. So now, oh my god, he did actually play it, and I told you he's gonna lose his queen. Oh my god, I did see the move c5, and I knew he's gonna blunder his queen. That's crazy. I did see that. Wow. Sorry, I only play one game per day, and I put all of my focus onto that game, and now we have to analyze the game. We have to analyze it and look through everything. Okay, 90% accuracy, and now blah blah. Okay, d4. Okay, takes, and now we play knight here. Comment. Okay, so when he get out with the bishop, the best move is queen b3 to attack these two twice. Yeah, I always forget this. Always forget to play queen b3 when he plays bishop f5, but I always stick to my, yeah, it is a free pawn. It is a free pawn, which is really nice. Takes, and now we went back knight c3. We played e4, which is the best move, and I took the knight, which is a great positional understanding. Knight e2, fb3 is nice, and now we had to castle. Yeah, we had to castle, but I was like, after castling, he's gonna play knight g4, threatening checkmate. Even though, of course, I'm not gonna blunder it. I'm gonna play like g3, maybe f4, or maybe better e5. You know, after canceling, knight g4, e5, the queen is to move, and now there's no more checkmate. Yeah, and now, yeah, that's the mistake. F3 is very nice, but it creates a very weak square. After f3, if I move the knight, I'm gonna get checked, and I'm not gonna castle. Yeah, so that's my mistake. He takes. Yeah, I thought about knight takes like this because I'm opening up for the rook to attack this pawn. So let's see what is the mistake here. You missed a better way to capture a free bishop. What if I take like this? What's going to happen? It's still going to be f5. And then I castle. And then he's going to take. So what is the point? So knight takes f5, castles, takes. Then rook here, because if he pushes, he can take with the pawn. And now you still have two center pawns. Oh. Yeah, nice. We castled, even though queen c2 was best before castling. But I was like, I'm not going to keep my king on the same file as his rook, so I was like, I'm going to castle first. Takes queen c2, which is nice. Queen e1 is best, but knight e2 takes here. Oh, the best move is rook e6. Wow, rook e6, stopping the check, defending the pawn on c6. I did not see that. Wow, I did not see this defensive move. I was passive. I was only looking at rook c8 and rook b6. But yeah, rook e6 is really great. It stops the check, so I'm not going to win a pawn on a6, and I'm not adding pressure on this pawn because it's defended twice and it can be defended 3 times. Wow, very good. But after he played this, I had the opportunity to play a check. Even though queen d3 is best, I'm not going to look at this small inaccuracy because, come on, I mean, engines, takes here. And I really saw, I told you, he's going to play c5 and he's going to blunder his queen, and he actually did, which is really crazy. The best moves to play rook c7. Let's see how am I going to react to rook to c7. So he's defending the pawn, he's defending the other pawn. Rook c7. I actually would have played like queen d3, getting back, trying to move the knight, so that I can move the rook on c2 to try to make use of the weak pawn on c6. Yeah, if he played this. Or try to play b4, b5. He cannot take a loses queen, but after b4 he can just take this pawn. But I can take this pawn. It's going to be some checks and I can get back. No, it's going to be leading some trouble. b4 is bad after rook c7. But then here he just played c5. He blundered that. Yeah, I mean, even if there's no queen here to win his queen, playing c5, what is his idea behind it? I mean, what is his idea? Like takes and he wants to take? Well, I can just take, and he will be pinning my knight, my rook, so the knight will be pinned, and I have to move my king, and if I move my king, I lose the rook, and if I went here, oh, actually a very good plan. So I'm not capable of taking the pawn, but who said I'm going to take it? Maybe I'm going to allow him to, if this, allow him to take, so let's say that after c5, I take this pawn, he takes here, I can just take there, and after takes, it will still be fine after like queen here. Yeah, this move clearly doesn't make any sense to me. He blundered his queen and now he resigned. And 99.3, yeah, that's the mistake. I mean, I'm still trying to be perfect at my openings, but here always when the bishop goes out to f5, play queen b3, you're attacking this twice and also this one, and many of the times actually blunder the pawn, or many of the theories here is to actually give away a pawn for black to gain development of the pieces, with knight f6 and knight f6 and knight c6 and bishop out. But yeah, 2019. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.